Hello, everyone. So good to be with you today. Thank you for joining. I'm going to ring us in with a bell today. One ring to wake it up and one ring to listen. Welcome to your practice. I'm so glad that we get a chance to practice together, to be together, and to explore and experiment and discover what it means to be alive and what it means to be human. Such a beautiful opportunity that yoga practice gives us, and I'm thrilled that you make space for it in your life. And today's practice is about making space to integrate our experiences or to integrate difficulty, conflicting emotions, seemingly contradictory experiences. So integration is our theme today. And I'll read you a short quote from Mark Nepo, the book we've been using lately in our practice, the Book of Awakening. He titles this particular post, "These are the signs." Pain is often a sign that something has to change. I've often thought that pain is a great motivator for action. And I imagine that if you meditate on that a moment, you would find that to be probably very true in something as seemingly trivial as a toothache. Finally forcing you to go to the dentist to do something about it, to the sort of more extreme pains that we've been witnessing in our society these last few months, of course, over the millennia as well. So I'll read that again. These are the signs. Pain is often a sign that something has to change. And I wonder if you've been experiencing any pains or difficulties like that. And I'm thinking of all the levels of our being, physically, so physical pain, mental pain, emotional pain, and perhaps spiritual pain, and perhaps some other level of pain that doesn't have a name yet, or some combination of pains like that. So as we move through practice today, the encouragement and the invitation is to bring a sense of self-compassion to your practice today. We'll be moving through centering, meditation, breath work, asana, which is posture, and movement, as a way of making space in our physical body so that we can connect to our inner life or our inner bodies of energy, thought, emotion, heart. Mark Nepo speaks about the bridge being a body. The body being a bridge. From the inner life to the outer life, or the external world to the internal world. And the body is that bridge that allows us to move from our inner life of our mental being and our emotional being to the outer life of our physical action. And in yoga practice, it's just beautiful space to cultivate the kind of bridge that we need. So he speaks about taking care of the body as a way to live our inner life out loud. And in yoga practice, that's what we're doing all the time, is cultivating a body that can act as the bridge. So Mark Nepo also talks about looking at the body as a bridge. We need to find ways that we can support it, reinforce it, work on it, and rest it. Now, often we don't think of bridges as needing rest, but when we think of the body as a bridge, then yeah, totally needing rest. So simply not using it and allowing it time to recuperate or rejuvenate or restore. And so our yoga practice, with all the branches, meditation, breath work or pranayama, controlling, directing of our senses and pratyahara, meditation, concentration, all of these branches of yoga allow us to do this, to take care of our body so that we can fully integrate the experiences that we have in the world. We can integrate the external experiences of our outer life into the internal experience of our inner life. That's a lot for a yoga class. But we'll have about 50 minutes to make space to do this kind of work. And I hope that you're excited and that you have a sense of curiosity and wonder, ready to experiment and observe and be curious. I encourage you in these kinds of practices to suspend your judgment just for the time being that we're moving and breathing. Have all the judgments you want later for sure, because those are necessary. But right now, just being with what is in your experience. And the last I'll say about it in this moment is just that there's a lot of conflicting experiences that we have. Experiences, events, feelings, thoughts, and emotions. And we've had these since the beginning of human existence. It seems that though in this moment, in October of the year 2020, that it's just more evident and more at the surface and in our face. And everyone happens to be talking about the conflict. So in a sense, there's less of a feeling of isolation in this awkward space, and more of a sense of, I'm not the only one in this boat who's feeling both joy and despair at the same time, or feeling both comfort and discomfort at the same time. Lots of spiritual teachers and philosophers talk about the both and, the non-dual way of being in the world. And I feel that in this moment, it's not a choice. Like, I used to study both and concepts and practice them in my life. But I don't have to look for ways to practice that anymore because it's all constant. I'm constantly in a space of feeling opposites of emotion. I'm feeling joy and despair at the same time. Right now, speaking to the camera, I'm feeling ease and nervousness at the same time. When I read the news, I'm feeling, motivated and also frozen at the same time. And so it has become really a way of living and moving through the world. And I have a sense that I'm able to do this because of my yoga practice or because of my mindfulness practice. And those two really aren't separate for me. The mindfulness and the yoga are the same. And so I don't want to waste any more time talking, but that's the essence of our class together today. And if you've practiced with me before, you're going to be like, this is the same stuff we do all the time. And really, that's because there are only so many ways to move the body. There's this limited, because I'm not really aware of the fourth dimension and I don't know how to get in there. So we're just going to use what we have access to. But what makes it different is always what we bring to the routine, what we bring to the sameness, what we bring to the pattern, what we bring to the yoga practice. So our theme today is making space to integrate difficulty. And that's what makes the yoga practice different today than it was 2 weeks ago. We're looking to make space in our heart, make space in our physical body, make space in our mental body and our mind, so that we can embrace with self-compassion and accept with gentleness and care for with tenderness all the difficulty and pain that is in our life today and has maybe come with us from all the decades of our life so far, is culminating here. It's almost like reaching a tipping point. This year has been a tipping point for many, many things, both corporately or societally, as well probably as individually. So we can take heart and comfort in the fact that we're not in the boat alone. We're in the boat together. And so let's practice. We'll start with centering, breathing, moving, resting. And then we'll wake up restored, and the bridge will be ready to go to take us from our inner world to our outer world again. So Here we go. Notice what sounds are in the room with you, and invite yourself to take a deep centering breath. Invite your awareness to notice every part of your inhalation to the top, and then every part of your exhalation to the bottom. And then maybe do that again. And notice the sounds in the room as you breathe. I hear a ticking clock. And the last resonance of the bell. I hear the sound of my own voice and the sound of my breath. Notice what's in the room with you as you breathe deeply and begin to settle purposely, stretching up through your vertebral column, and then allowing the sides of your neck to relax and the tops of your shoulders to be at ease. On the next breath, you might even consider, what does it feel like to stretch down through the vertebral column? Wow, as you inhale, that's new. Stretch down through your tailbone as you inhale. You might notice the experience of ground reaction force, right? Whatever you're sitting on, you're pressing down and it's pressing back up. Notice what that feels like in your body. So press down through your vertebral column again as you inhale, which is the opposite of what we normally do. And then as you exhale, think about reaching up to the crown of your head as your shoulders drop down. So you're doing both things at the same time, stretching up and resting down at the same time, just like both and. And in doing these practices right now, notice what feels like center to you. Is it at the base of your throat, like the nook between your collarbones? Is that center for you today? Is it the middle of your forehead at your third eye? Is it the center of your chest at your heart? The center of your solar plexus at the nook of your rib cage? Is it at your belly button? Is it above your pubic bone? Is your center at your root at the base of your pelvic floor, or is it at the crown of your head? Or is it in the back of you? Do you feel center at your middle back? Your tailbone? The base of your neck or skull? Lastly, do you happen to feel center deep within the core of your three-dimensional being, the cylinder of your torso, the 360 degrees of you? Notice where center is for you today. And if it shifts over the course of your practice or the course of your day. When you're ready, blink your eyes open, lift your gaze. Look around your space. Turn your head slowly to one side. Maybe turn your torso too, if that feels right. And then take your time moving to the other side. Keep on breathing in ways that feel comfortable. And then maybe a little cat-cow, seated or stretched out. I'm seated still, but you can move around, move your legs. Readjust. Feel free to breathe in a traditional sense, inhaling as you open the front body and exhaling as you close the front body. And feel free to also breathe in the opposite. So if you like, as you take your next inhalation, you could round, close the front body, and breathe into the nook between your shoulder blades. And then exhale, open the front body as you look up. Weird, right? 2 more rounds of breath in whatever way feels good to you. And let your next exhalation be complete. When you're ready, Move onto your mat to hands and knees in table pose, or onto your back with knees pulled to your chest in upside down table pose. So remember that if you've never practiced with me before, my encouragement to you is to do what feels right in the moment, regardless of what I'm saying. I'm going to move back to my mat, and I'll talk a little louder once I get back there. So first, get yourself settled on your mat in any way that feels right. And do a little bit more cat-cow moving, and also a little bit of side to side. So you're going to see me moving my shoulders to one side and my hips to the other. And you can do this at a quick pace to get started, but then start to slow down and notice what parts of your body are making contact with the floor or your mat. You might be in upside down table pose, and that's great. Just be reminded that I'm going to be speaking or guiding from a traditional table pose on hands and knees. So as you settle in, become aware of the depth and breadth and width of your body, so you have a sense of yourself in space, taking up space in the world. See if you can press down to the tops of your feet and through your hands. Maybe press down to the roots of your forefingers so that the thumb side of your hands are not lifting away from the ground. Notice if you can press into the tips of your fingers gently. Not so much that they turn colors, turn white or pink, but just so that you feel the tips of your fingers. And then when you're ready, some traditional cat-cows, followed by some non-traditional cat-cows. And then we'll move through a table series in an organic way, which means specific to you and your body. Anything that can be done from table pose is welcome here. So stirring the pot or moving your torso around, knees and wrists. Balancing in spinal balance by lifting one or two limbs off the ground. Anything you want to do, you can make up your own things. Just as long as you're not accidentally holding your breath and you're continuing to breathe in a way that feels supportive to you. So not taking in too deep of a breath that makes you feel uncomfortable, but taking just the right kind of breath that allows you to feel really powerful, like you've got just what you need, not too much and not too little. And then if you've done something asymmetrical and you want to try the other side, switch to that space when you're ready. And look for ways in which you can create some space between your body parts. Create some space between your ears and shoulders. Create some space between your tailbone and the crown of your head. Looking around to see what space can be created. When you're ready, shift to a version of child's pose that feels supportive for you. I really feel comforted by knees wide as the mat, and then coming down to stretch out into extended child's pose so that I get a chance to make some space between my wrists and my shoulder blades. So if you take an extended child's pose and place and press your hand into the mat, and then start to pull back a little bit, you're going to feel activation of muscles around your shoulder girdle that hopefully feels empowering and nice. If you want to use your other hand to hold on there and just have a sense of nurturing and comfort from your own touch, try that out. And then you can press your armpit close to the ground. You can rest your head or not. And then if you want to, you can tent your fingers or tent your hand with fingertips on the ground and then peek out underneath. See how that feels. And then walk your hands slightly forward perhaps, or lift the hips. Take your face or your head to the ground and see what's here. So remember that you're creating space in a way that feels supportive for you. And then I'm going to shift to the other side. So I've come up onto hands and knees, and I'm going to shift and use the other arm for extended child's pose work. I've never done this one-armed extended child's pose, and I love it. It's fascinating. So as you're ready, you can take your opposite hand and place it as comfort and support on your shoulder girdle on the other side, just to have a sense of what's happening in here. And then press the hand down into the mat a little bit. Breathe if you've forgotten. Rest your head in any way that's comfortable for length in the upper spine. And then if you like, Imagine you'll slide your hand back towards your knee, but not really let it move, and you feel all kinds of activation around your shoulder girdle. And then maybe pressing the armpit closer to the floor. I'm noticing now lots of differences between my sides. My left shoulder is in a different state than my right. And then if you want to, peeking out underneath, tenting your hand, coming onto your fingertips, lifting your hips a little, see what's here to feel. So because we're in a body, we want to pay attention to those sensations, right? And then when you're ready, you come up back to table pose and then into a dog pose of your choice in your own time and at your own command. And some of you might even want to bring the hips forward and down, a little bit of a upward dog exploration. Sort of moving around like maybe cobra pose, maybe upward dog, maybe we'll want the feet lifted so we're in a little bit more supportive state. Engaging the abs, engaging the glutes to really protect the lumbar spine if that's feeling like it's a good thing to do right now. And see how you feel before you make your next decision. What kind of dog pose you want to be in today. So I'm looking at a traditional dog at the moment. And I'm lifting up onto the balls of my feet, back down. And keep on breathing as you do this. You could be on your knees in resting dog or puppy pose. See if you can stretch open the bottoms of your feet in some way. So I'll demonstrate resting dog on the knees. Notice that the feet and toes still get a stretch here. You're on the balls of your feet or your toes. So this is a good place to stretch out the bottoms of the feet. And if you're in full downward dog, rolling up onto the balls of the feet or even to the toe tips and then back down is a lovely way to keep the feet healthy. So making space in the bottoms of the feet to really incorporate your experience of walking through the world as a human with an inner life and an outer life. And I'm going to rock a little bit side to side on my feet and have a little twist going on here. It feels good to touch into the side body. So the rib cage, the torso, and then the outer legs, outer hips, even all the way up into the upper rib cage. And then when you're ready, coming to child's pose of your choice. Whatever feels right in this moment. So for me, to rest my arms, upper body, shoulders, everything, I'm going to stack fists on top of each other and then let the forehead come down. So maybe you'll use blocks, pillows, blankets, or cushions. Or maybe your forehead's on the ground. Take 3 more breaths here. Very purposeful, full body breaths as you explore child's pose supported. Last one. And then when you're ready, make your way to table pose. I'm feeling a little bit in my forearms and wrists like I need a break from weight bearing. So let's come down onto the forearms and roll the wrists a few times in one direction and then in the other direction. Continue to breathe while you do this. We're just in, the whole thing is yoga practice, so keep your yoga breath going. If you want to press the wrist in the opposite direction, you can do that too. Nice. And then as you're ready, staying on forearms, flat hands, or fists, come back to table pose. So we'll do some side body opening, making space in the side body. So press back through one of your legs. The ball of that foot on the floor, and press through the heel. Engage your abdominal muscles to support your low back. And then as you're ready, you can resituate your knee and your hands to where you feel comfortable as you pivot the foot to lay flat on the ground. And we'll open up into any version of supported side plank that feels good to you. Notice, if you want to look at the screen, you can. Having your supporting knee and ankle lined up is a more difficult situation. If you want to, you can pivot on the knee and take the ankle back off your mat so that you have a little bit more support. And then tent the hand that's the same side of the body as your extended leg. And feel into that side body, see if you can find some stretch and some opening. And then if you want to, you can lift that hand and put it anywhere that you like. Making space to integrate difficult experience, thought, emotion. Notice what's present in you and your whole being today and allow that to be integrated and welcomed into your experience with acceptance and gentleness rather than denial, ignorance, or a turning away. Just tenderness and gentleness and self-compassion here. I'm going to drop my arm down behind my back for a moment, and then if you want to play around with this, you can let the leg float. This is just an experiment, see how it feels. You can make all the adjustments that you want. You can be down on a forearm, on a fist. I'm just demonstrating flat hand here. Full big breaths regardless of what you're doing, and then make it organic and make it unique to you. So I'm stretching out from fingertip to heel, making a long line. And notice what you want to feel today and try that out. For those of you who want to, I'm going to demonstrate just taking hold of the ankle here. So bending the lifted leg, knee, and reaching for the ankle. So if your body is in such a state that you need to move into this to feel something, then try it out. If your body is in such a state that you feel lots of things without doing this, then you're lucky. Then you don't have to do this. And keep breathing. We're moving in ways that are unique to our own genetic makeup and DNA. Please remember that you and your experience are the expert in your yoga practice. When you're ready, take your time coming out of this shape, maybe back to table pose, maybe to child's pose, maybe to downward dog, maybe to resting dog, or maybe you want a full vinyasa. Just do it. We'll take 3 breaths wherever you want to be before we go to the other side. One more breath. And then when you feel ready, making your way to the other side, if that's something you want to explore. There's no rule that says you have to do the other side of an asymmetrical practice, right? So if you're sort of quote unquote skipping the next side, do whatever you want while I work through this. My other side wants to try this out. So breathing, making space between your heel and your shoulder, between your tail and your crown. Letting the leg float if you want to, trying that out, activating the abdominal muscles and bringing the foot back down. And then as you like, pivoting on the foot to seal it to the ground, making sure to rest the head, the neck, and then if you like, tenting the hand of the arm that's on the same side of the body as your extended leg. Just moving around a little bit, micro movements, feeling into all that's able to be stretched here and all the space that you're able to create inside your body. Full breaths to the degree that feels powerful and useful, but not overwhelming. And then if you like, letting that arm float. And seeing what's here. Readjusting that supporting leg. I'll make all kinds of adjustments here. Move my knee a little bit. My ankle's off my mat. I like that support. And then feeling into where you want to spend a few breaths. And bringing self-compassion. Bringing gentleness and tenderness to the difficulties that are present, without looking away or denying or ignoring. I'm floating up onto my toe and then back down onto my heel. That feels interesting to me instead of my extended leg foot. Full breaths, and then start moving around a little bit and make some space where you like to make space. I'm reaching across my body and then letting the leg float, seeing how that feels. Feel free to roll the wrists and ankles, press through the heel, point through the toes, be curious about sensation. Soften your jaw and the skin around your eyes. And invite your tongue to move away from the roof of your mouth. Unclench the jaw. And then if you want to, reaching for the ankle by bending your knee, heel toward hip. And only if it's necessary, only if you need some sensation that you're not finding. You know, looking down and resting your neck is a beautiful place to be. And then just look for how space opens on its own. Where is space revealing itself to you in your practice? And then you take your time coming back to a resting place. Any dog poses, any child poses, any variations of those things for maybe 3, maybe 4 really good breaths. And by good, I mean you're just in it. You're in the breath. You're knowing that you're inhaling. You're knowing that you're exhaling. That's it. That's what makes a good breath. That's a yoga breath. Knowing that you're doing it, right? Maybe we have one more of those to go. One more knowing breaths. Nice. When you're ready, make your way to standing in whatever way is supportive for you in your body. It's okay if you take 3 breaths to get there, if you take 10 breaths to get there. If I'm behind you in speed or in front of you in speed, no worries. We'll always make it back together at the end, right? We'll find Shavasana at the end together. When you're ready, just swing your arms a little bit side to side, take a wide stance, and move your hips around a little bit, swing your torso around a little bit. It's like you're your own square dancing partner. Let your knees bend. Let your hips move. There's never a reason that you should ever feel twinges of pain anywhere in your body. And I'm thinking in this moment specifically of your sacroiliac joint, your knees, your hips, your low back. None of that is a thing. Yoga is not striving to work through pain. Yoga is striving to be free from pain and difficulty. When you're ready, wide leg mountain pose. Breathe in and breathe out. And do it twice more in a way that makes you feel powerful. So for me, I like to bend my elbows and bring my palms up when I breathe in. And then when I breathe out, my arms come back down. So maybe do one more of something that feels good for you. Okay, one more because that feels really good. Nice. And I don't know if you're watching, you can see my toes are sort of doing the same thing. Inhaling, my toes are lifting up as my arms come up, just because it feels right. And as I exhale, my toes float back down. I just realized that I was doing that. So one more inhale. My balls of my feet are pressing down as my toes lift. As I exhale, my toes are floating back down. Nice. Let's move through super gentle twisting sun salutation with no chaturanga, no downward dog, cat cow instead. I'm stepping my feet together just because I'm feeling called to do that. You can have feet anywhere you want. As you're ready, inhale. Let the arms float up in a way that feels right for your shoulders and everything else. Look up if you wish. As you exhale, bend the knees, hinge at the hips, and then I'm going to step my feet apart because I want a wide stance for this part. Palms of the hands pressed together. Complete your exhale. As you inhale, lift the heart for cow, standing cow. Exhale, round the back for standing cat. Inhale, open one arm out to the side and stretch open, making space. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale, second side. Make space between your shoulders. Make space between your collarbones. Make space between the corners of your mouth. Come back to center. Nice. Inhale to standing cow. Exhale to standing cat. Inhale to standing. Press down through the lower body. Reach through the upper body from your waist. Maybe look up. Exhale. Bring the hands down to at any angle that feels right for your shoulders. My arms want to come back a little bit. I'm going to clasp my hands behind my back. You're welcome to do that or place hands on a strap, a scarf, or just at the top of the buttocks. Inhale, pull the shoulder blades together as you lift the face, look up. As you exhale, release back to any mountain pose you like. Let's do 2 more of those at a slightly faster pace, but not fast. Okay? When you're ready, exhale completely and find your base and your center. As you inhale, reach up. As you exhale, bend at the knees, hinge at the hips. Inhale, standing cow. Exhale, standing cat. Inhale, open to one side. One arm reaches out, lots of space. Look for space. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale, second side. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, come to standing. Exhale, arms come down, behind the back. Inhale, lift the heart, lift the face. Exhale, mountain. Last one, inhale. Stretch full body, open up the waist, maybe a wiggle. Exhale, bend the knees, forearms to thighs. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, open one arm out and really look for space. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, second side. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale to stand. Exhale, arms come down and then behind. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, release to mountain. Let's do those power breaths in mountain pose. If you're with me, you can do whatever you want, but if you want to do what I'm doing, here we go. Inhale, lift the toes, press the balls of the feet and heels down, bend the elbows, palms come up toward your shoulders. As you exhale, maybe make fists, turn the palms at a different angle, and exhale, open the hands, let the toes float back down, arms back down to your sides. Twice more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Nice. Take a moment to be still. Notice any sensations or anything that's resonating in the body after all of that movement. As you're ready, heel toe the feet together and then do some shaking. Similar to what we did when we first came to standing. A little bit of twisting and turning, bending the knees, moving the hips, no twinges of pain anywhere. And then as you're ready, come back to wide legs. We're going to move in and out of 5-pointed star and victory squat as a way of integrating a sense of both power and ease at the same time. Always and forever, let your toes point in the direction that feels best for your knees. Cool. All right. Inhale. Legs are straight and arms can come up parallel to the floor. Take a moment here to notice. You can look side to side, see if your hands are lined up with your shoulders. Does it matter? No. If you want to, take your hands back past your shoulders if that feels interesting. If you notice that your hands are forward of your shoulders, maybe ask, does that feel cool? Does that feel okay? So yeah, stay there. If it feels not interesting, bring them back a little bit. 5-pointed star. So we're looking to create space. We'll take probably 5 good breaths here. So when I'm talking about space, making it, I'm thinking of making space between this shoulder and the other shoulder, okay? And this shoulder and the wrist, or the tip of the finger, okay? Same on the other side of the body, making space, cross the body right to left. Keep breathing. Don't lock your knees. You can always have a soft bend in your knees even though we have straight legs. Feel the muscles of your legs activate. I'm also thinking about internally in my body, I'm stretching up like we did seated at our centering practice. We're stretching down through the vertebral column as we inhale. We're stretching up through the vertebral column as we inhale. So both things are happening at the same time. Right? So that's what we're looking for, space that way. The same thing is happening from the waist down. Same thing that we're doing, creating space between our shoulders and wrists on the upper body. Same thing is happening here, creating space right to left between our hips. You're probably thinking, how do you do that? I'm not sure how to do that. Sort of like a mental practice, creating space here, and then space between your ankles and your hips. And again, I'm not sure. Mental practice because your feet are pressing the ground, right? So you're kind of lifting up. Your pelvic bowl is lifting up away from the floor. Okay? And then there's one more dimension we haven't discussed, that's for front and back. So just see what you can do as you breathe in. Can you create space between your front torso and your back torso? See if you can do it. As you exhale, so it comes back together. We've been here way longer than 5 breaths, right? So I'm going to turn my feet out more because I know my knees want that. And exhale, bend the knees, bend the elbows, palms of the hands face in. A little bit of wiggling here in the hips and the waist to find what feels right. And then checking in with your knees, what feels right here? What degree feels right? I'm sort of in the middle of the road right here. For you, it might feel better to have legs less bent. For you, you might need to feel more sensation. So maybe you're going to bend your knees so much that your thighs become parallel to the floor. We'll stay about 5 breaths here. Notice that my toes, I'm lifting my toes to feel into the 4 corners of my feet. I'm going to feel the balls of the feet and the heels press down. And then let the toes float back to the floor. So sort of similar to that powerful mountain breath, right? Inhaling, letting the toes and hands lift, exhaling, letting them come back down. But look, we have bent knees, so we're really feeling the power of our lower body. Let's do one more. Inhaling, lifting the toes, exhaling, setting them back down. Nice. And then come back when you're ready to 5-pointed star. Ooh, I'm feeling interesting things. Lots of sensation in the upper legs and in my hip joints. Maybe you have some sensations there. So create space between the crown of your head and your tail, between your hands and shoulders, between your hips, between your ankles and hips. One more breath here. And then exhale to victory squat. What's the victory, you ask? And the victory is the ability to be here now. 3 more breaths. Just being here now. In the way that suits you. Not the way that suits anyone else. When you feel ready, 5-pointed star. One more full breath here. And then now let's go back and forth. Inhaling 5-pointed star. Exhaling victory squat. Slow. Exhale. Inhale star. Exhale squat. Inhale 5 points. Exhale victory. Inhale 5-pointed star. Exhale victory, victory, victory. When you're ready, find your way to standing mountain with arms reaching overhead. Full breath here. When you're ready, take one more and let the arms come down to your sides. Grab 2 more breaths here in traditional standing mountain. So perhaps you have your palms facing forward. Perhaps you have your palms at rest at your sides. Grab 2 more breaths here. And then as you're ready, make your way to the ground in whatever way suits you and your unique ancestral DNA. We'll take about 5 breaths to get to the ground. I've plopped right down, but you're welcome to to mosey. Take your time. And then as you're ready, if you like, you can pull the feet in, soles of the feet pressing together, bound angle pose. You can have props to support you. Three breaths here. Hands can be on the feet, the ankles, the knees, whatever feels right. You could also be sitting up on a blanket or a bolster. 2 more breaths. Notice about how can you create space here? What feels right to you? And then if you like, folding forward. Three breaths. How can you create space here? Last breath. And when you're ready, come back up to sitting. If you're feeling like a nice forward bend is in order, please do that now. And I want you to choose, if you would like, legs close together, hip distance apart, or really wide at an angle, or anywhere in between. My body's asking for a narrow forward bend. If you want to, you can take the flesh of the hips and buttocks and pull it back, find your sitting bones a little bit, or be up on a blanket, block, or bolster. And then as you're ready, just sort of incrementally with your breath, inhale, lengthen the torso, and if you want to, just pull the flesh of the belly a little bit till it feels comfortable enough that you have just a little bit of space to fold. And again, if it feels better, then the feet are going to be wide, and you pull the flesh of the belly up a little bit. See if that's comfortable. So we're looking for comfort, not strain. Again, you're only going to go as far as your body says, so be a good listener, pay close attention, let your mental body sense the sensations of your physical body. And then you'll stay wherever's comfortable for 2 more breaths. You make adjustments as needed, as wanted. Exhale completely. As you inhale, re-lengthen the spine. As you exhale, come back up to sitting. If it feels okay, bend the knees. Make sure you're sideways on your mat so you can use the length of it. And if you want to, some rock and roll. I'm going to do probably about 6. You can hold on to the front of the knees, underneath the knees. The knees can be wide, close, whatever. Roll down one side of the spine, roll up the other. About 6 of those, if that feels okay. I'm just going to massage the muscles of the back. You could do this 9 times in a circle if you want, which is a traditional way of stretching the muscles of the back, giving them a massage. And then by traditional, I mean Ashtanga yoga primary series. But, I think traditions are made to, have variables, right? Variations. Variation on a theme. When you're ready, find your Shavasana position that feels right for you today. If you've never done Shavasana any other way than on your back, you might want to experiment with on the belly. And you can use a bunch of cushions, pillows, bolsters, or blankets to do this. You could, if you really like having something close to your body, you could even lie on your side with some blankets under your rib cage. And if it feels okay, pulling your knee up onto some supports and resting here. So this is just an example of one way of changing up or shifting your Shavasana position. Okay, that might be for you today, maybe not. You can do a more traditional on the back, but bolster under your legs, or legs up the wall or over a chair. So the bolster would be somewhere like this, so that your heels are making contact with something is, I feel like, it's very valuable. So even if your legs are up on the wall, you can feel your heels on the wall, and if your legs are on a chair, you can feel your heels on the chair. And if not, pile up some more supports so that you have that sensation. So a couple more breaths of you getting where you're going with your props and supports and blankets and settling in. I'm going to walk closer to the screen now, so I'll soften my voice as I come up there. So take a couple of breaths to settle. And we'll start our Shavasana with the bell. And let the sound come to your ears just opening to sound. Stretch open your jaw as wide as it will go and then release it. Stretch the tongue and then release. Perhaps wrinkle the forehead, the nose, squeeze the eyes shut and then release. Maybe as you inhale next, lifting the head a millimeter from the ground, lengthening the neck and making space there. And then exhale, releasing the head back down to be cradled by what's beneath it. And then scanning the body on your own quickly for any pockets of tension that would benefit from a scrunch and release. Maybe the arms and shoulders could use a scrunch, a squeeze, and then a letting go as you exhale. You can tuck the shoulder blades beneath you. Maybe pressing the low back into the ground and then release. Or whatever position you are, relationship to the floor and gravity, and just do what you need. And don't be shy about making every single little adjustment. This Shavasana is not about suffering through something. Shavasana is about nurturing yourself into something. Yes, integrating. Check in with your ankles and your feet and your toes. Your Shavasana is about integrating. You have now made all the space. You've made all the space. Your body is the bridge that can allow a welcoming of difficulty, conflicting events, emotions, and thoughts. There's space now. There's space to acknowledge these pains and difficulties. And there is space to offer them gentleness, to surround them with tenderness. There is space to offer acceptance to the things and ourselves. So the self-compassion can work. Now there's space to work in. Notice the sensations in your body right now. Where are the spaces in you that feel alive with energy? Some call this just a sense of aliveness. And I don't know what it feels like for you. It might feel like tingling or warming or warmth or a buzzing almost. And just noticing those spaces, not doing anything about it or with it. Noticing and then being with. Or just noticing and then naming it. Like, wow, that's aliveness right there. I'm feeling some aliveness in my torso, around my waist, actually. And now I'm thinking, I haven't felt that in a long time. And then just noticing what you discover as you pay close attention to your body in this resting place. You might notice all kinds of different pockets of aliveness in the front body, the back body, the right side body, the left side body, the top side body, like the crown of the head, tops of the shoulders, and the lower side body, the pelvic floor, the bottoms of the feet. Notice your depth and breadth, your length, your height, your width, and allow yourself to take the space that you make in the world, because you're valuable and you're necessary. And you are a place of comfort for other people. You are tender, you are gentle, you are accepting. You are compassionate. You are okay. You are good. Even and within and without and around and because of and all the things, you are good. If you like, you can shift your awareness to your heart space. If you like, you can practice a little loving kindness. You can bring your hands to rest on your chest, your belly, or leave them where they are. You can use your own words or you can use mine. May I be healthy and safe. May I be free from pain and difficulty. May I be happy. May I be healthy and safe. May I be free from pain and difficulty. May I be happy. If you like, you can offer these loving kindness wishes to the world, using your own words or maybe mine. May all beings be healthy and safe. May all beings be free from pain and difficulty. May all beings be happy. If you like, you can take a deep, enlivening breath and allow your body to move in response. You can stay here as long as you like, or you can blink open your eyes and start to take in your space. If you have all the time in the world to you in this moment, you can stay and continue to rest and repair and restore and integrate. If you're ready to end your practice, take a moment, thank yourself for the gift of the practice, and then offer gratitude and thanksgiving to all the people, the ancestors, the teachers, the lineages, the technologies that have allowed these practices to come to you. And I'm thankful for you. Thank you for being here, for offering your practice to the world, and for being good, because you are. And I'll see you next time.